Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Disqualified. I am Caleb, your main roster predictions champion, your first two-time champion. This is Beltless Trevin.
For now.
And that is your NXT predictions champion, Zach, behind the camera, our producer, and
The man who's defending
this belt this version of the belt for the first time. Actually, for the first time in general.
Yeah. Because he was the inaugural, and
I was the first NXT champ.
It's coming home with me.
no, it ain't.
That's the belt that made me a trip.
Yeah, Zach is a Triple Crown champion. Well, he was. Until I take this belt. You're not getting this one back.
He'll get his shot at Money in the Bank just like Will. Our next event is that same day for Worlds Collide. But first, we gotta predict Battleground.
Yes, and that's what we're here to predict today. So,
3 matches got added last night at time of recording to fill out the card. But the other 3 matches we knew well in advance.
This card is
Interesting.
it's interesting. It is very much transition period. You can tell this transition period for NXT.
No. Yeah.
But,
I'm adding lines to where we're going to initial.
Okay.
Oh, I was like,
Sorry, how we wrote it on the
Tank and Josh Briggs are a team.
Yeah.
That's why I was confused. I was like,
Yeah,
why'd you
that's
just hyphen
why
his
that's
name?
why we were paused. You were breaking up his
I
name.
was like, why'd you just hyphen his name? What did he do? What did he deserve?
Anyways, speaking of our whiteboard, the first match we have on said whiteboard is for the Women's NXT Championship. Your champion Stephanie Becker versus the challenger, the Juggernaut Jordan Grace.
All right. Stephanie Becker.
I also have Stephanie Becker. I was on the fence about this. Yeah, I was on the fence.
I will never not vote for her.
Yeah, I was on the fence about this until I remembered, oh wait, Worlds Collide. They're having Becker fight some luchas.
Yeah. Now we move on to Obafemi, your NXT champion, versus Miles Bourne of NQCC for the NXT Championship. 3, 2, 1. Obafemi.
I was on the fence about this very much until I said Oba, because literally this match started invading my shower thoughts, because I was like, Miles has a style that works well with fighting luchas at Worlds Collide. Oba is the bigger name, however. His style can kind of work, but it'd be much more of a, 2 different styles. But and also due to the fact that Battleground last year was also where Ilya lost his championship to Trick before Ilya got called up. So I was like, could they do a yearly repeat? But it's like, I decided to play it safe and say Oba.
I just don't see it being Miles being the one to take it off of him.
Miles has the story going for him. The crowd is getting a lot more on his side. Literally, he only had 2 weeks build, and this is probably second place to most over opponent besides Javon. But it's like, he got there quick.
It's not that it's not believable. I could see it happening. Anything can happen. It's just, I just don't think Miles is ready for not a title reign. He's ready. I think they should give NQCC the tag titles, but that seems very much in line for OTM at the moment, at least in my head.
Yeah.
I just think it's too early.
People also predict an NQCC breakup because of Charlie's attitude towards Miles getting this match.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've seen with, the recent releases and also the draft on the way, they are breaking up a lot of factions in NXT.
Yep. And Zach, your reasoning is Obafemi, right?
Oba.
It is my goat.
Yes.
Ooh.
And now,
Ooh. Ah.
yeah. And now, predicting the other world title for the men's side on the line. It's not an NXT one, though. It's a TNA one with your champion Joe Hendry fighting the challenger of Trick Williams.
Trick Williams.
Joe Hendry.
Trick Williams.
Dang. I solo picked Joe? That's surprising.
I could see it being the first big, like, shock. They're like, Trick has won the title. I think it's going to be a very much hot swap. Trick does win it. I could just, I don't know. I could see it happening.
Joe Hendry should not be here since he's still in the other show.
Yeah, but
If you hold the belt of a competing company, you should not be for a...
well, it's cool to get eyes on them, but the thing that sucks about getting the eyes on them is the person that they're putting eyes on is in their contract year for the company.
Yeah.
So that talent's already been poached.
To be fair, though, I did catch an episode of TNA. The episode that had Nikita Lyons in a tag match. However, the main event of that episode was Nemeth versus Hardy, and that match cooked.
Oh no, TNA has good matches. They have a history of having good matches.
Yes.
It's the history that people don't like to talk about is like the 2010s when Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff took over. That was ass city.
The wrestlers don't want to talk about the hexagonal ring.
Yes, it hurt their body very much.
Yeah.
But now we move on.
Back to an NXT title match. We have your women's North
Oh
American...
wait, we didn't get your reasoning for Drew.
With Trick on prospect for getting called up, yes, him being called up to the main roster, holding a TNA title, would be decently cool. I don't think they'd pull that trigger.
Well, the thing is, so this is the first time they're doing it on NXT, defending the TNA title. He doesn't, if he wins it, he's not defending it at the next NXT PLE. He's defending it at the next TNA PLE, or pay-per-view, because they're actually sensible when they don't call them stupid other names. Pay-per-view. Oh, that feels so nice to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Now we move on to our Women's North American Championship match with your Women's North American Champion, Sol Ruka, taking on Kalani Jordan. And this match got made last night as of recording.
Yep.
And I have Sol.
I too have Sol.
We're all Sol?
Ooh, we haven't done a single 3-2-1.
We did a 3-2-1 with Oba.
Oh yes, we did for Oba.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I was
Fucking Oba.
hesitant.
I thought you were gonna say Miles.
No. I literally debated it, but I'm like, Oba's the bigger moneymaker for slotting him in Worlds Collide. Do I want Oba on the main roster ASAP? Yes. But sadly, with how things are getting booked, he can wait another year.
His talent would be wasted in the main roster because they're not doing anything except for 2 specific stories. So it's good that he's still down dominating.
That's true. Just build up stock even more.
Yeah.
At least he's on our screen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now another match that got made last night.
Alright, so on this board are the 2 last matches. They're not championship matches, and they're matches I honestly could not care less for. I couldn't care less.
The first one on the docket is a 6-man tag with your tag champions Hank and Tank, partnered with Josh Briggs, versus the male representatives of the Calling, which include Sean Spears, Nico Vance, and why am I blanking on the third?
Brooks Jensen.
Brooks Jensen, there we go. I was like, it starts with a B, I know that.
Hank and Tank.
Hank and Tank.
Yeah, it's...
There's no reason for the Calling to win this.
There's no reason,
No.
unless you want to do the shock value, and Josh Briggs apparently can't play well with others. Like, that's not like a thing, but like, If Josh Briggs can't play well with others when it's a 3-man situation, I don't know if that's something they're going to try to do.
No, yeah.
It's just
Another thing is that technically there's already a team with stakes on the tag titles, and that is Dark State, as Dark State has pinned a member of Hank and Tank.
yep.
So getting a second team with those kind of stakes wouldn't make any sense.
And I'm sure you just feel all the same.
I don't see any reason for the Cullen to win.
Yeah.
There's not really much they can do for.
Yeah.
They're pushing these guys so much harder.
Yeah.
Yes. And now the final match to predict, it is a grudge match. A match that should have had a stipulation. The Don, Tony D'Angelo versus Stacks.
Tony.
I have Stacks.
I have Tony.
Oh, shit.
You and Zach picked all the same.
He completely blocked me out.
Yep. Champions retain.
Copying me.
Champions retain ties. Remember.
I have mine in my head before you guys even talk about them.
So do I. But
Some of these I just come to with on day of.
yeah.
Well, Trevin has to cross his fingers that he gets one of these two right and we don't.
I just think that it's Tony. Like, this is the logical next step, unless they have Tony go away for a while and he does some acting. I don't know.
I feel like if you're gonna emphasize this heel turn, they might make it a trilogy, and as we've seen with other trilogies involving people brutalizing stuff about them, aka Drew McIntyre's recent trilogies, the heel picks up the first win in the trilogy.
I just see this being where Rizzo or Crucifino come back. And that's what gives Tony the upper hand.
I do see Stacks cheating a little bit as well. Like,
Oh, yeah, he's going to pull out a crowbar.
yeah, crowbar, maybe some brass knuckles. But he won't need a cheat. Probably not a blicky.
I'm just thinking cartoon logic. He just pulls the crowbar out of his pants.
Yeah. But he wouldn't need to cheat to do that if this was a street fight like we were all asking it to be.
Or backstage brawl.
Yeah. But to recap all of the picks, so for our first match, once again, these are not card order.
No, because card order doesn't get revealed till day of. This is just how we saw it on the website we looked at.
So, Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace. All of us pick Stephanie Vaquer. And that's for the Women's NXT Championship.
Yep.
And
Oba
now-
Femi versus Miles.
All for Oba Femi for the NXT Men's Championship.
Ooh. Ooh. For the TNA Men's Championship.
Trick Williams is what Zach and I chose.
And I chose Joe Retainen.
Yep. And for the Women's North American Championship, we have Solruka versus Kalani Jordan.
With all votes on Soul.
Yep, retaining. We have the 6-man tag of Hank and Tank, your NXT Tag Champions, with Josh Briggs, versus the Culling, represented by Sean Spears, Nico Vance, and Brooks Jensen.
And all votes on the team of Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs.
And now we have the last match, Tony D'Angelo versus Channing Stacks Lorenzo, who they're just calling Stacks now. Zach and I have Tony, while Trevin has Stacks. So, unfortunately, in the event of a tie, I get blocked out, which sucks for me.
Yep.
And I retain.
Yep. That was your strat.
No, I literally had all those
That,
concrete in beforehand.
yeah. This is also a bit of a funky and semi-predictable card. I say that as the person who was the cause of the 2 not all votes. But, hey.
Hey, just be glad that he chose someone else, because this was very much going to be an all card.
And now he has a chance of getting the belt if we're to actually wrong. Beltless Trevin will
Yeah.
not
The
be
only way I get the belt, though, is if I pull a Caleb and sweep this. Because if I get one wrong, it causes a 3-way, 5-way tie and Zach retains.
Yeah.
Yep. So the only way the belt changes hands is if I sweep.
But that's if, and we will see that on Sunday.
Yep.
So, this has been it from us here at Disqualified. I am your main roster predictions champion, Caleb. That is, who knows, Beltless Trevin June.
Probably
Or-
short-lived.
Will that be Beltless Zach? For right now, he is the current holder of the NXT Predictions Champion. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell 3 times so you know the match is over. And we will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Bye!